Yes, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Bootcast podcast. I am your host, Justin. I'm wearing a hat today because I wanted to match with my fellow co-host, Colby. Colby, man, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I appreciate that, dude.
Yeah, dude. You know, you always have a hat, so I was like, I need to wear a hat.
Yeah, that's just because your hairline is better than mine. So I do
have a good hairline. I will admit that.
Yeah.
I have
Lucky.
a terrible body and horrible personality, but I've got a great hairline to make up for it.
That's something to be proud of.
Oh yeah, man. How was your week, dude? Tell me what's been going on.
It's been good, man. It's been good. I played yesterday. Finally got the confidence to play in my TKs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I had like the worst pickup game of my life.
I was gonna say you were like not kind of those.
It was bad. Yeah. We had just come from a pool party for my son, like one of his friends, and I was treading water for like an hour and a half, like keeping an eye on the kids, and then going from that to playing a pickup outdoor game. I was done. I was starving.
I was gonna say being tired from swimming, but being in the sun all day like that.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's brutal.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
All right, man. Well, we're gonna start this off quick and fast. I have a sick child who kind of keeps waking up and crying and falling back asleep and waking up and crying. So we're gonna get this rolling. Colby, who is your number 2 pick of the week this week?
Oh, of the week. I'm gonna go with Mr. Kyle Walker, because that guy is England's number 1 right back.
Currently, I don't even know if I would put him over. Well,
Trent. Who you got? You got Trent. You got Reece James.
But he's always hurt.
Walk. Yeah,
I was gonna say. Is that really it? Joe Gomez? Does he play right back?
Joe Gomez is a center back who can play right back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ben White? It should be Ben White. That's who should be England's right back.
He's stuck in a tanning bed though, somewhere.
Dude.
Okay, what happened with Ben White? Because he was
Okay. This is what I heard. I don't know. I can't confirm. This is what I heard. Was basically the World Cup 2022, Ben White was basically like kind of feeling homesick, and he didn't really want to be there because he's like, I'm not going to play. Like, what's the point of being here? And so then one of the coaches, they were running a drill. They called him out, and he was like, I'm not gonna take this serious. I don't care. Like, I'm not gonna play. What does it matter?
Yeah.
And he's like, see, you don't care about football. Like, everybody knows this about you. So then Ben was like, fine, like, F this. I don't need to be disrespected. Like, I'm just gonna go home. So that's why he left. And then now I guess that coach is still there, and so Ben's like, it's kind of like the same thing with like Sancho and Ten Hag. It's just like, as long as you're here, I'm not coming back.
Yeah, not coming back. Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like I'll never shit on somebody for sticking up for when they feel like they've truly been disrespected. Now, have they? That's a whole nother story. But he feels as though he has, so I'm not going to give him that hard of a time.
Yeah, and for the England call up, I mean, that's on you. That's on you if you want to go or not.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, the thing that's crazy for me is like, we talked about this last week with the whole Ronaldo thing, but it's just like, you're not going to play. You're not going to play. Kyle Walker's had stinkers and has played.
Speaking of, I know, Kyle Walker has the stinkers, but he's still got the legs at 34 years old. And you have to give him credit for that.
I mean, it's
so
amazing,
fast.
But it's just a Southgate, bro. Look at Foden. Foden has stank up this tournament. Hasn't gotten benched.
Well, this is the wild thing, and when this podcast comes out, we're gonna know if they beat Netherlands or not. So I don't know if it's coming home. Like by this time, England could win, they could have lost. But I will say this: when Switzerland scored, it was 1-0. He made a change of what? Palmer. Who else did he put in? He put in 3
Trent.
subs.
Did he put in Trent or not yet?
No, I think he just put in Trent for the penalty at the end. Who else? Anyways, it was 3 attacking changes, and within like 2 minutes, Saka goal. It was stupid. It was stupid how fast that game turned around.
Well, did you see the it was like a throw in towards the so it's like going offensively. It's a throw in on the right. So Kieran Trippier throws it in. He like kind of overthrows it, and it goes like in between Declan Rice and I think John Stones. And then somehow, like, they're just outside of the box, right, when the throw-in happens.
Yeah.
And it ends back up at Jordan Pickford. Like, that's how, like, oh my god, and just pass back. It was like, oh, what are you doing?
Right, dude. It's just like
it's so bad.
You gotta play safe. It's tournament football, all right?
No,
you gotta put your life vest on. You gotta make sure the airbags are turned on, and you just gotta strap in, man.
No,
just gotta strap in. But I mean, I think the Netherlands actually in this game was gonna be over. So it's stupid that we're talking about it, but I think Netherlands and Cody Gakpo and the way those guys are playing, I think they'll beat England. Unfortunately,
I think you're just saying that because the Liverpool player.
No, he's the next right after own goal. He's the top scorer, right? He's the
Gakpo?
golden boot. Yeah, I think he's got 3.
Dude, golden boot own goals, that'd be insane.
That would be cool. They should do it.
Wild.
They should do it.
But that would be cool. My number 2 is Gary Neville.
Oh yeah,
arguably England's greatest ever right back.
True. Very true.
I love Gary.
They should make a documentary about him. Like enough about Beckham.
No, that'd be so boring. Dude, Gary. Dude, if you want to know anything about Gary, just watch The Overlap on YouTube. Like, I think he's great at interviewing. I love the guests, even though they're all United players 9 times out of 10. Like, I think that Gary is I think he's good at what he does.
Yes.
I think he's also really good at taking punches and kind of downplaying his career. But like, let's be honest, man's won pretty much everything you could win at a club level.
Right.
So it's just like, yeah, I love Gary.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Him and Carragher, like they go back and forth really well. But man, that's the funny thing about Jamie Carragher is like the switch from like player to pundit for him has just been a complete like. As a player, I always respected Jamie Carragher. He wasn't the biggest or the fastest like center back, but I always joked with my friends that it's like, oh yeah, Jamie Carragher's on the team because he's roommates with Steven Gerrard. I mean, he did more than that. Yeah. But him as a pundit is just like fire. Like with him and Henri and Micah, like
the CBS crew,
yes,
and Kate, yes. They're great.
Yeah,
they are good. All right, Colby. So let's get into this. Let's start off with the. What do you want to start off with today?
Well, I think you and I both made a recent purchase, right? With the 4th of July sales and whatnot.
We did.
Yeah, so I can start off with mine. I had a recent order in for the Day Spark pack, the F50, because I really wanted those. And you told me on the last podcast, go with Soccer Pro because there's a really good deal. And I told you. I had it up. I had it in my window, right, next to our podcast. And when we finished, wrapped up, I closed the computer, I walked off, went to bed, woke up, opened it back up, gone.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah. So
you missed out.
Yeah,
Per usual, you didn't buy the things that I told you to buy, and then you buy the things I tell you not to buy.
Right.
Okay,
right.
So what did you end up getting?
I ended up getting, because I didn't keep the ones that I'd had from maybe like 3-4 podcasts ago, I went ahead and got another pair of the F50 Elite Advancement Pack because I got those for under $200 because it was no tax, free shipping, and then 24% off. So I ended up getting like the last pair of that colorway, which I can live with that colorway, dude. That is a good colorway.
That's the red, white, blue?
Yeah, the red, white, blue. After these, after the Euros and this Copa America, I think those will be kind of like it's going to be a significant colorway.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that the F50s are going to become kind of your boot right now? Because you've been kind of struggling with the Preds. Obviously, the Tony Cruises are like dog doo-doo for you.
Yeah, we'll get to the TKs when we talk about the Tony Cruz send-off name change. We're going to get to that. But yeah, I think so I really, really like the Predators. Like I've told you, I still am having a hard time breaking those in. After 2 hours, I'm still getting a lot of pain on the outside of the boot.
Okay.
The extra length in the toe. I know some people don't like the tapering at the toe of the F50s. It didn't really bother me that much.
Okay.
Pretty decent boot for wide feet. So yeah, I'm excited to get back into them and get playing with those.
That'll be cool. Yeah, so I bought the same pack, but I ended up buying the F50 Pluses. And they should be here tomorrow. I'm sorry I don't have them for the recording. But, yeah, dude, I'm super hyped for those. I got them on PDS, and basically, like, with overnight shipping, I paid the same as if I was going to pay for free shipping at soccer.com or some of the other retailers. So I wanted them, so I got them. I'm excited, though. I watched Noah's review. And his playtest, they seem different. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from them. Is they're different.
Yeah.
So who knows if I'll end up liking them, but I am really excited to try them out and give the Roteros a break and give everybody's ears and eyes a break from the Rotero for a couple weeks.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about these F50s, and not necessarily the F50 Plus model, but what I've noticed a lot in the Euros and even the Copa America is a lot of younger players wear their boots laceless, which I thought that was more like I could name like one or two. I could name like João Felix and who's the Argentinian guy? Dybala. Dybala wears laceless. Yeah, there's a lot of Argentinians. Yeah, Dybala. Like those are like the two I can name off the top of my head. And like as I'm watching these tournaments, I keep seeing it more and more and more. So
yeah, actually, João switched to the laced F50s now.
Oh, really?
He's doing the laceless for promos, but during this game and then even like the penalties that Portugal went out on, he's wearing the laced F50.
Is that why he missed? Because he should have been wearing laceless?
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm just playing.
I was gonna say it might just be because we're not gonna get into this right now.
Yeah, we don't need to get into how Jota should have been on the field.
I do agree. Okay. So anyways, I'm excited about the F50 pluses. I'll report back next week. I'll let you know. Let's see what else has been going on. Oh, for me personally, I just haven't been able to play that much because like my toe is like still really bothering me. I think I've gotten it all kind of cleared and cut up, and now it's just healing, so it's just really sore and tender. But I'll have good news next week, so we'll leave it at that.
Good. We'll be excited for that. And Justin has like a signature move where he always has injuries to his feet, to his toes. And
I do.
Wants to show you nasty pictures.
I cut my toenails too short, so it's like a I guess recurring injury in a way, but it's like totally like brought on by myself. Like I have nobody to blame but myself.
Recurring, yeah. Just back off. Just back off the Clippers, bro. Like recurring.
It's just a thing, bro. I'm sorry. Okay, but I want to talk about this because I posted earlier today, like if anybody had any quick questions to bring up on the podcast, and since we're both talking about the F50s, our friend Uli Quetzalcoatl, he asked a question and he said, do you think that brands should offer like essentially a quarter size, for these boots? Because the biggest complaint I've heard about the F50 is a lot of people are kind of in between sizes. Yeah. So do you think that the big brands, or actually any brands, should offer quarter sizes, or what do you think is kind of their
I think you should. I think you should. I think that'd be great. I think, that's a really good point. Because you end up with so many boots where it's you end up in these stupid situations where it's like it's not quite half a size up, it's not quite half a size down, and so even if you really like a boot, it's almost just kind of like, hey, deal with it. Like the Puma Futures, it would be awesome to have like a quarter size in that. Yeah. Or these F50s. I mean, there's been quite a few times where I'm like, I just need either just like a little bit more length would help me.
Yeah, see, I think like on a consumer side, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like the pros get it, why can't we get things like that? But then I think about it like on their end, and it's like, think about how many boots already don't sell. And now you're adding essentially 4 more times the sizing on top of that. And then not only that, but then think about like brand to brand, silo to silo, line to line. Like you could really, really start messing with people. Or like what happens like, That's one thing. Like I used to have a friend in high school where one of his foot was legitimately bigger than the other. So like his right foot was like a size, I think it was like a 10, and then his left foot was like legitimately like a 9.25. So it's like he kind of had to either buy 2 pairs of boots or just one shoe.
Did he have like a growth plate issue, or like what was up with that?
Yeah, well, like it was like one of his legs was technically shorter, so I think something happened, and that's what kind of like spurred it all the way through. But yeah, he had like. And he knew it. Like, he was like, I've got, like, effed up feet. Yeah. But, so it's like, on a consumer side, I'm like, I would love if brands did the quarter sizes. But I also have to be, like, realistic. And I'm like, that just doesn't sound feasible. Like, think about if they did that with clothes. Like, instead of small, medium, large, small, medium, large, and then large.
Yeah. Oh, man.
See how messy that could get? Like, it could go really bad really quickly.
I would say this. Maybe not on every single model you make, because we legitimately like throw up if we had like 4 top end Adidas like F50 Elite models that you were all trying to put quarter sizes in. But if you took the most popular shoe sizes, like maybe if you go like from an 8, like if you go from an 8 to a 10 or an 8 to a 10.5, and then you make quarter sizes in like your most popular silo, like whether it's like your Vapor, your F50, your Predator, I'm wondering if like you could manage that, but I mean, for the most part, quarter sizes, like you do run into that issue. Most of the time, you can go half size down, half size up, and just deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it would be cool for like the most popular boots and the most popular sizes.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'm just gonna like kind of sprinkle questions that we've got throughout it. I think that's a cool way, but yeah, I would love it in theory to have more choices. In practice, I don't know.
Yeah. All right, my friend. Let's move on to our first little topic here, because several people got the new Mercurial, the new Vapor 16, the Superfly 10. Have you watched some of the reviews that have come out?
I have. I think I've watched a lot. I talked to Andrew a little bit. I watched Noah's. Who else got it? Sub said a little bit of stuff.
Yeah, Charles got his.
Oh yeah, I did watch Halty's, and then I did watch like J Mike's.
Yeah, J Mike.
To see what J Mike had to say.
Josh got his as well. So
yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, what do you think?
Man, I'm torn because it's kind of like there's some cool things about the boot, and to me, and from what I've kind of gathered from what everybody has said, the vibe I'm getting is a less structured Superfly 4. That's kind of the realm that I'm getting from this boot. What are you thinking?
I'm kind of getting those vibes as well. I think it's an interesting boot where I think people, it's a thin boot. It's unstructured, like you say. That does leave a little bit of kind of wonkiness, some dead space. I know Andrew kind of held up like the F50 heel right next to the Vapor heel, and the Vapor heel is pretty chunky. So it's just interesting in the direction that they wanted to go. Like it's not as like sleek and responsive. You know what I mean? It's just a different ride, I guess. Which this topic keeps coming up of, is the speed boot line becoming kind of for everyone? And I feel like this is kind of another step in that direction where it's sort of more, it's more catering to people of more foot shapes, if you will.
Do you think that this boot is one of those examples of like people don't really know what they want? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't really know how to word that another way, but like there's a lot of times where like people think they know what they want, and then once they actually get it, they're like, oh, I don't want this.
Right. No, I think you're onto something, because like if you talk to us and you said, hey guys, like what's the most comfortable boot on the market right now? We would say probably the TKPro, which is a very, like I would say like kind of unstructured boot, but there is issues within it. Which is its lockdown, yeah. But it's like, oh yeah, I love this boot. It's great. It's a sock boot. Okay, great. Okay, well we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna pick this Vapor and we're gonna make it a little bit more unstructured. Hey, you like the Gripknit? Hey, that's our technology. We're gonna sprinkle that right on the top. And it's almost like, okay, well, is that really what you're wanting in like a like highly like technical speed boot? Is this more like kind of unstructured fit where majority of people could fit into this and wear this?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm stuck. Is it's just like when with the last one, everybody was kind of like, the Air Zoom's cool, but I don't really feel it. So then Nike supposedly has done things to where now you can kind of feel it more. And then I've heard some people be like, I don't like this either. And then people are like, oh, the chevrons, they're like, it's too aggressive. Like we need to chill out. So Nike's like, okay, here's TriStar studs. And then people are like, I don't like TriStar studs. I kind of want chevron. I need a little bit more. So it's just like, this to me, it's just one of those things where when I look at this boot, it kind of looks like it's caught in between like two ideologies of like you said, making the Mercurial for everybody, and then like trying to maintain the Mercurial to be the Mercurial. And so it's kind of like this weird, it's almost like they're spinning two plates, and
right.
One of them kind of starts to flop a little bit, and the other one keeps going.
Well, here's something I want to talk to you that kind of piggybacks off that a little bit, because who was it? Zach Starr, if you're listening, went back to like one of our old videos, because we had kind of talked about these discussions of like having like diversifying features in between our boot lines, right? Like if you're Nike, like I think you had said, well, I don't think this like newest Mercurial, this was months ago, I don't think this newest Mercurial is going to have Gripknit on it because then that takes away from something like the GX2. Okay, well now you have two boots in your same line that have essentially like the same grip technology. They're both catering to like, multiple foot shapes. Well, okay, well what's the like separating factor, I guess? Like just the sole plate, maybe like the thinness of the upper?
Yeah. It's weird because like I had this issue. Whoa. There was another boot that they did where I was like, they're both Flyknit, so it kind of takes away. Oh, it was the GT and what was the Mercurial at the time? The 12 and 13? Are those the Flyknit Mercurials?
I
that everybody
think
loves?
so.
Okay, yeah.
Everybody loves the 13.
Yeah. Okay, so the 13 and then the GT are out. And it's kind of like, these are essentially the same boot. And it's like, one is kind of for thinner feet, one is kind of for wider feet.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I like that, but then at the same time, I'm like, this is stupid. Like, you have two totally different things for the same, why? It's like, oh, I have a nail, I have a hammer, or I have a mallet. It's like, okay, but they're both going to hit the nail in the fine. So it's like, I get why Nike's using Gripknit, because, again, that's kind of like their new, like when they put Flyknit on everything, right?
Right.
And they didn't need to. They're using Gripknit because it's probably cheaper overall, because I know they said it's, like, less materials than having to coat the polyurethane and all that with ACC, but it's just kind of like, I'm like, what makes the GX besides the wide part different from this Merc to you?
Well, I have heard that and I can't remember who I heard this from, but the GX2's Gripknit, and this is just not from having not from having the newest Mercurial in hand, is the GX is Gripknit is more sticky, more grippy? Of a grippy feel, and the Mercurials is more, it's like less grippy, but it's still the same technology.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like maybe you could separate them from that, but I will say that, okay, let's say you do have like the same type of boot, because Mercs release like on a 2-year life cycle. The GX or GT life cycles have been more about like 1 year. Like I want to say they released the GX1 World Cup 2022, and then we phased that out for the GX2 in, it was either late 2023 or early 2024. So these will probably ride together for at least 6 months before they change the GX2 into the GX3 or whatever they're going to call it at that point. So Nike might have foreseen this coming and said, it does look a little bit weird, but we can go ahead and, update the GX3 to be something that more like diversifies itself, I guess, against the Mercurial.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm at a rock and a hard place with this right now, because there has to be. The problem is we're criticizing them for essentially the material upper being the same, right? That's kind of where our main criticism comes. But then I think back to like older boots, and like think about when Adidas had the F50 leather, the Predator was made of leather, and the Copa was made of leather. So all three of those are leather. And we don't really bat it. What was their other boot? I don't remember. I think it was just those at the time, right?
those three, yeah.
Were those the main ones? Okay. Excuse me. So those three are leather, and we don't bat an eye, and we don't care. So it's just like, and then at the time of they were different synthetics, but you had like the Vapor 8, the CTR 360, and the T90 Laser 4. Those are all synthetic. So what is it about Gripknit that we don't like it being shared? Because I kind of felt the same way with Flyknit.
I guess to me it's like, okay, I just feel like we're living in different eras now, right? Because back in the day, it's like, everything used to be leather, and so that was just kind of the expectation, was like, okay, well, how can you create leather in such a way that it's more grippy in some areas, it's like held together better, like like Copa Mundial versus like even back in the day like a Predator, like one's going to hold together better than the other over time. So now I feel like our expectations with the innovations that we have and like the different like technologies that Nike has is to say like, okay, we understand that everything is going to be synthetic now that you've taken leather out of the equation. So like, let's at least differentiate that. And so we expect different things. Like I expect and I'm sure like the overall feel, because of the sole plate and the way they've structured the Mercurial, is going to be different. So I'm not sure if like maybe I'll feel different when I have the boots on feet and in hand. that that I will be okay. Well, these are two completely different boots, but yeah, it does bug me a little bit. It does make me kind of want something just completely different and new.
Yeah, that's the hard part. It's because I wonder even if Nike didn't use the word Gripknit, like even if it was Gripknit, let's say they called it something slightly different, if this would bother people as much.
They probably could have gotten away with it.
Or if you think if people would have put like 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, I think people would have called them out. They probably had thought about that to say like, hey, this isn't Gripknit, this is Grip. Maybe if they had combined the two, and because what's the other one? It's Atom Knit.
Knit is like a light fly knit from what I gather.
So they could have almost kind of gone that route where they.
Okay, here's a question. Okay, so we know that when it was the Flyknit Ultras, right? The Ultra series, and then what was the Phantom Ultra? Okay, they used Flyknit with high tenacity yarns woven in, right? That's where it got like its grip. Okay, so do you think like let's say the GX has the Gripknit, the GX and the Lunas have the Gripknit? Do you think if Nike called this Flyknit with high tenacity, if that's what they said, oh, it's a Flyknit upper with high tenacity yarns woven in. We got it from the Flyknit Ultra. Do you think people would complain about it then?
I don't think so. Because I feel like it's. I don't know. I feel like.
See?
Yeah.
This is so hard, and it's like I try to even think about like while we were talking, I was trying to think of like other industries, and we don't really have that. Like at the end of the day, like you look at a Toyota. All they do is sell cars. They all have engines. They all have seats. They all get you from point A to point B. But we're not like, oh, why do they have a Camry and a Corolla? Like, well, this is the same thing.
This is bullcrap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm thinking two now, and like the New Balance has essentially two lines. I mean, I know they've got the 442, but essentially two lines: Tequila and the Furon, and they both have what is it, Hypo knit?
Hypo knit, yeah, Hypo knit uppers.
Yeah, so I guess we can't give Nike too much crap. I don't know why like we tend to want to beat down Nike more on their technology. I don't know if it's because our expectations for the company are just so high with their innovation, but
yeah. See, I think it's like I told you before. I think the problem with Nike is the way they market things as like it's got to be this big grandiose thing. So we're like, okay, that's awesome. Like I buy into Gripknit. I love the Phantom line, and they're like, oh yeah, but we're actually going to use it on this too. And it's like, well, why?
I was going to say this. So I do feel like we have high expectations for Nike and what they do. And it seems like we're getting into this kind of cookie cutter state where everything seems to just be like slight elevations of another. But then you see Adidas do really cool stuff where with their Predator, they have Hybrid Touch 2.0, right? Okay, and then on their F50, they've got the Sprint Web with the Fiber Touch technology. But not only with that, they can make something like an offset boot, like the Messy boot, which isn't quite Hybrid Touch 2.0. It's more of like a classic style hybrid touch. Yeah. And they can just kind of sprinkle this stuff in here and there. They can put like a Fusion Skin Pred in, and then they have the Copa line, which has like Fusion Skin with leather, like calf leather at the toe box. So to me, it's like, yeah, those three silos are very differentiated, and not only are those three silos differentiated from each other, but you can kind of sprinkle in like a few like cool technologies here and there, or just slight changes to the upper. Yeah. And so I don't know. I don't know if that's kind of where, like when you're watching Nike, it's kind of like. I don't want to put this to a video game, but okay, video game reference. 2015, The Witcher 3 comes out. The game is just blows you away. It's amazing. It's incredible. For years and years and years, I've been playing the Fallout games. Fallout 3 comes out, and it's like, ugh, this is kind of janky compared to what I thought it was. They're like, oh no, guys, it's just a slight, improvement in what we've been doing. And it's like, yeah, but my expectations are so much higher because I've seen what this other company can do. Yeah. So.
No, that's a great way to put it, because right now with where I feel with how boots are going, and I'm just going to say the big two because that's normally what me and you wear, let's be honest. I feel like they've almost kind of switched, where I felt like for a long time Adidas was kind of resting on its laurels, doing minor little tweaks and changes and being like, okay, here's a new one, like let's keep it going. The F50 is a little bit thinner, like we got a little thinner, we got a little lighter, and then it's like, oh, the Pred got a little bit of a different element, nothing crazy. And then Nike's like, hey, here's the Superfly 3. Oh, now here's the Vapor 8. Now here's the Vapor, they're mixing it up. Now I feel like it's different. Adidas is kind of like, all right, let's get some fresh faces. We're going to bring back some old names, but we're going to change it up. and we want
Yeah.
everything to feel different. And they're like, let's go. Like, some things aren't going to hit, and we know that they're not going to hit, but we'll improve. And then Nike, on the other hand, is like, hey, we got these great things that we've had for 10 years now. Let's just keep tweaking that formula little, and we'll like, it's like they hit perfection and they just want to keep tweaking perfection.
Right.
And then meanwhile, Adidas is like, hey, we're just gonna keep doing different versions of perfection.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. And I don't want to completely slam. I don't want this to be like the Nike Slam podcast. But what I will say is because I was watching everybody's reviews and I saw the insole that they put in.
Oh yeah.
To the Vapor, and I'm like, that's pretty crappy. Like that insole, it's just a crappy insole. And then you look at what Adidas did when they released the Elite model of the F50. You get two versions. You get a comfort version and you get a speed version.
Yeah.
So not only like is my money going farther in terms of like the boot and like the comfort and the technology that I'm getting, but I'm also getting like two dang insoles. Like I know that's like a small little thing, but that still matters.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think it's just they think that the Air Zoom is doing probably, or they're trying to make us believe that the Air Zoom is doing more than it probably is. So they're like, oh, you don't need a thick insole because the Air Zoom is, the thickness.
Right.
I'm sure that's what the message they're trying to portray. But like you said, at the end of the day, yeah, it is crappy.
Yeah. I mean, you're spending like upwards of like $300 on like a Superfly. Like you need, I mean, you need to kind of justify. Like I know to them, it's like, hey, they're looking at a spreadsheet and they're saying, I think this is how much we can get away for selling like this boot for, just because like I think this is what people will pay. But you have to still think about like a regular person on their like one pair of boots. They're spending $300. Like make it worth their $300 in whatever way you can. And if that means including like a really nice like insole, like a plush insole, like do it.
Yeah, but I mean that would just be asking companies to take off their bottom end, and we just know they're not going to do that. Like let's be honest, we know they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So okay, well, speaking of that, Ricky asked us a great question earlier, and he said if you could eliminate one silo from each of the big brands, who would you go with? So we'll kind of go in order that he said. With New Balance. Out of New Balance's 3 lines, which one are you gonna eliminate?
Oh man, that's like hurting your children, man. New Balances, but all New Balance's lines are good. Oh man, because I love all 3 of those. That is hard. That is a hard one. Only because I probably like the Furon the least. I'd have to get rid of the Furon, but with New Balance, I don't want to get rid of any of them. They're so good. Yeah,
it's hard. I'd get rid of the 442.
Oh, you SOB.
Well, it's just one of those things where and we'll come to it, but like you said, choosing between your children. So it's like, let's say the Furon is a 9.7, okay? And the Tequila is a 9.8, and then the 442 is a 9.6.
Yeah.
Which one are you going to get rid of?
Right, the bottom number.
9.6.
You're right.
442 is that sole plate. If it didn't have that sole plate, it'd probably lived, but
it'd be solid.
So it's solid. All right. Nike.
Tiempo.
Same. I'm gonna go with the Tiempo.
Yeah.
Adidas or Adidas.
The Copa line.
Copa. I also agree. And Puma.
Puma. Oh, can I kill 3 Pumas to get my New Balance back? You know what? I guess I got to go Future now because like those Ultras look pretty cool and the new King looks pretty cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut out the Future because they need to update that one anyway.
I'm gonna go with the. Ooh, yeah, that is hard. I think I still go with the Ultra just because I still think it's kind of a wonky ass boot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah. Like, well, three other companies are doing it better.
It intrigues. It definitely intrigues me, but it's still like we said, it's out of those 3.
Yeah, it's
the weakest link, so it's gotta go. And then the last one he listed was Mizuno.
Oh man. Gosh, that's a hard one. Don't they have like multiple iterations of like a few of their boots, and they have like
I think it's the Morelia line, the Neo line, and then the Alpha.
The Alpha? I'd kick the Alpha out.
I'd kill the Alpha too.
Not leather. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the other ones just do everything like so spot on.
Yeah. Yeah. They're perfection. Mizuno.
All right. Let's keep going. All right. Bring up the next one, Colby.
Okay. Just to really put a pin in all this Nike stuff. The mad because everything's mad, right?
Yes. Or it's ready.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ready. Yeah. So this is the Mad Ambition pack has leaked for the fall, and it's your favorite color, Justin.
This
It's
is the blue pack? It has
Blue
a
pack.
name? Okay, so I kept hearing the blueprint pack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did see a takedown of the Merc the other day. Out of all three, it's probably my favorite.
Yeah, I think that one has more of like a lot more white in it, right?
It was like kinda. It was like, okay, so if you take like the blueprint one that's now and where the white is, it's like almost like a darker teal color.
Mm-hmm.
And then the blue, where the blue is on the blueprint, it's more of like a darker blue.
Yeah, and I'll have a picture up here on screen, but
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that the GX2 in that one looks really good.
It's too much blue.
Yeah, too much blue for you.
You know what? You know why I think I don't like that GX also? Because it looks like that blue GT from the last Euro. Remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Was that the Euro one? Was the blue GT or was that the green GT?
Was that the John Stones GT2
that
or
Noah
GT
has.
that Noah has? Yeah, I like those.
Oh, I don't see. That's the prime example of a blue boot I don't like.
Yeah.
Because somebody else called me out in one of our comments, like, "Oh, he says he hates blue boots, but then he loves the Rotero and the Japan blue." That is the blue I'm talking about, like that GT blue. I hated that blue one.
Yeah, I got you. And the Rotero, it doesn't matter what color it is. It's still like it could come out like throw up green. It could still be like the best boot of the year.
Do you think? Okay, since you brought up the Rotero. If the Rotero came out, they're like, hey, this is a second, we got a fusion skin Rotero, but it was the colorway and the aesthetics completely of the Generation Pred.
I get it.
Oh, God.
I get it. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Come on.
That
I
thing
thought you were gonna.
So bad.
It is so bad, but I gotta try that boot. I feel like I almost missed them. If I hadn't gotten the Turf Messies, like I would be very upset. But I was lucky enough to get that hybrid touch. I feel like every once in a while, like these really like cool boots come out, and I don't want to miss them anymore.
Yeah, and I told you to buy the Rotero.
You did, and you did. Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So and then I saw the blue Tiempo. I think I sent it to you. Like it's fine.
Yeah,
it's a Tiempo.
Yeah, Tiempo is a Tiempo, and this is kind of where we're getting with Nike, where it's like, yeah, it's just a copy paste. I saw young Cole Palmer wearing the still sporting the Rising Gem pack, so good for him. Yeah, the one guy who got to wear those boots.
I was gonna say that pack was kind of made for him, so that's why it makes sense.
Yeah, they should just call it the Cole Palmer pack. All right, man. Moving on. Adidas have changed the name of the 11 Pro to the Adidas TK Pro, and they even left Tony Cruz with like a nice little video. So yeah. So to me, that means this is not the last we'll see of these boots here.
Pretty much.
And I have to say, man, so I just been kind of, messing around with these. I hadn't played in any games, and I do not like these boots. I did not have a good game in these boots. I felt like my foot was slipping, my left heel was slipping. I think I watched or I saw something where Noah got his in a half size down, and nobody told me. I probably would have done that to see if I had better lockdown, but yeah.
Okay, so do you remember when we did an episode on the first colorway, the white and blue ones, the original 11 Pro remakes? And do you remember I distinctly said that the 11 Pro 2 was not a good boot back in like 2013 when it was out, and it still wasn't a good boot now? See?
Yeah.
See, this is one of those prime moments where I know what I am talking about.
Right.
It's the same thing with the Rotero. It's been the same thing with other boots where I'm like, Colby, like, just please, for the love of God, listen to me on this.
I should have listened to you. Well, see, sometimes you just have to you have to try things for yourselves. Sometimes you just gotta let me fail.
You're the kid in the stove. Like, I'm like, hey, don't touch that. It's super hot.
That.
You're like,
yeah. Psst. It's a great boot aesthetically. It's really, really comfortable. As soon as I got started playing, I did not feel right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do think like they've changed the name. Like he's retiring. They're gonna open up the line again.
Yep. I think you could put a picture up if you want, but I posted a picture the other day of the new updated
icons.
Was it Copa Icon? Thank you. And so I've seen the Copa Icon now and the Copa Gloro, and they've both been kind of updated. I think that, and this is what I told Adidas that I think that they should do, was combine those lines. So I have a feeling like the name change is obviously like wink and nod that this is going to be more regular. So I think that the Copa Icon and the Copa Glory are going to go away, and I think that that's going to be their new like entry level leather boot. Is that the best way to put it?
It's not bad. Like entry level. Like if I paid, how much were these? $250. So if I paid maybe like $150.
Okay, I was gonna say, what would you pay for those? And be like, okay.
$150. I think this like is a $150 boot that they're putting the TK stuff all over, limiting it and making it $250. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think I would if it was like the Icon, it was like 175-ish. I think that's the upper echelon, but I'd be okay paying that.
Yeah.
And I would say like, yeah, for bang for your buck, that's okay boot.
Yeah, you just have to remember, like, I mean, and I knew this going into it, but it's all leather, so it's just there's nothing really keeping your foot, just like this. I played in too many modern boots to really, it bugs me now.
Yeah, and the leather I just don't feel like is that good to even be like,
yeah, I mean,
this is the star of the show kind of thing.
Yeah, I'd actually brought these with me, and yeah, there's a big difference between like the thinness of the K leather of the 18s and this leather. It's just This is so much better. Yeah, it's too padded.
Yeah. Yeah, not a boot for me, and I'm glad that I did not stick with those.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you got stuck with so many of them.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Maybe I can sell them used.
There you go.
All right. Speaking of white and gold, a Predator that will not die, will not go away. The white gold Predator Players Pack, which is essentially the Generation Pred in a white gold colorway, is rumored to come out on August 1st.
And we saw this, what did we see this boot? February,
maybe, because it was a little after the Generation Pred, and we were like, is this a joke?
Yeah. And I have seen those at the outlet. Like, people have posted Facebook, like on the Facebook groups I'm in. People have taken pictures of the outlet, and you just see them like all on the outlet wall.
Yeah.
So I know I have seen a photo of those at an outlet.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of that's kind of been like this was that 99 gram.
Yep, that's what exactly
leather, where it was like we kept seeing it, and we're like, that's never coming out. And then months and months later. We'll probably it probably won't even be announced. We're just gonna wake up one day and they're selling it. That was how the 99.
Just to get them out.
Yeah, just get them out.
Yeah, I think this is another kind of one of the few dud colorways.
Yeah, and it's interesting, man. And we got a comment from and I apologize if I like butcher this. Kian Bensan, and his point was on this newest Day Spark pack. Was it almost seemed kind of, and we had talked about this, like is making a black colorway for the dark spark and just adding some gold accents, and a white colorway with some gold accents. He was saying it's kind of weird, like on the stripes of the Adidas boots, they put the gold, but then on the tongue there's nothing. On the striking elements there's nothing. It's like it's kind of weird. It's like they didn't go all the way with it.
It's half-assed feeling. I'm not going to say it is half-assed, but it feels half-assed.
Right. And even the guys on the Football Boot Hour, which please go check out that podcast, were kind of saying like they don't understand why they don't always just have like a blackout pack like for the entirety of a boot generation. Like just keep it, like or whiteout. Like I would love it if they kept a whiteout all generation, but it's just like brands feel like they need to sort of tweak it. Like, hey, we're going to put out this many like pearlized versions, and now we have the Dayspark versions, and now you're going to have like an off version of, what did I even call it? I can't remember what it's called.
Players pack?
Players pack, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like that meme, like, let me copy your homework, okay, just change it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's what this boot feels like.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting because the F50 like knocks it out of the park.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The F50 like, and both the blackout, because we saw the blackout super early because Charles had them. Our friend over at Holtz Boots Reviews had them. And then, I saw the white and gold ones, and we were talking about them the other day, and I'm like, you crushed it. Like you it looks like you really like, okay, here's a whiteout. How can we like give a good gold accent? And they did it. And then the Predator, it's like you said, they took the pearlized and they were just like, like, let's do this. And then they just like took the 3-stripe, like in Microsoft Paint, and just put like a gold right there. And they're like, done.
It's weird they didn't do anything with the tongue. It feels like like you kind of started coloring your coloring book, but you didn't quite finish. Like
Yes.
it is kind of a weird.
Yeah, like
I
if
don't
they
know.
would have done the 3 stripes, if they would have done the Adidas logo and the Pred Elements gold, I think that those would have sold even better.
Yeah, no, yeah, totally agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Or if they did it the Trent way, like where Trents were red,
Mm-hmm.
put the gold like that, I think that would have crushed it.
Yeah, I think they still need to re-release those in some form or fashion. Like that's in the production line. I think they need to, since Paul Pogba's off the board for 4 years, they need to give us a signature pair of Jude colorways and Trent colorways, just like they had been doing for Pogba for years and years.
Yeah. I think a Jude one will eventually come. I would have loved to have his. What was that?
The new boy
pinkish one?
What is it called?
What,
Not the
Golden
new
Boy?
Golden Boy.
Yeah, the Golden Boy pair. I actually really like those ones. I do like pink, but the way they did that one, that pink was different.
Yeah, and that was really early on when we were just getting like the same like 3 rehashed colorways in the Predator. I feel like now, like that was our biggest complaint back then. I feel like now we're actually getting some like, pretty differentiated versions of the Predator, and I think that was the plan all along, was like, this boot is so popular, we're just going to give them like these colorways and we'll save, like the more normalized ones for later when people would buy like a second pair, I guess.
It's funny too because we're like talking about like giving Jude and Trent more colorways after we've complained that the Predator already has too many colorways.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about for the 25, because I think at this point, if you wanted a 24, you got a 24. Now I feel like I'm excited to see the colorways for the F50, and I feel like the F50 is going to be a very popular boot. Like you saw that Darwin Nunez had been swapping out like Copas, Preds, finally lands in the F50s. So I think quite a few players will hang on to these.
Yeah, it's a good return to form, and it was. I think that the name is carrying it very hard, but I think it's like a good. I think it lives up to its name, I guess is the best way I can
think
put
so
it.
too. I think it's a good design. It's comfortable. It feels light. Like I was worried when I initially saw, and this is kind of why I don't want to judge Nike too harshly on some of like the dead space and like the wrinkles and stuff, because when I saw the initial pics of the F50 and how much like the material was hanging off your ankle, I was like, there's no way. There's no way with it all crinkled up. And then I wore a pair. I was like, man, these are nice. Like the lockdown's great. The feel's great. Love the sole plate. So
Yeah, I think this kind of is one of those things where, Noah has always preached about like, oh, wear what fits your foot, wear what fits your foot, and it's like you can do your research and your due diligence, and you can be like, okay, this boot seems to be better, this boot seems to be worse, but I think at the end of the day, it's just like if you can, like, go try them on. You don't know what you like until you know. And for you're looking at pictures and you're looking at reviews, you're like, the F50, I don't know if that's my vibe, and then you're finally like, all right, F it, let's just pull a trigger,
right.
and here it is. It's knocked it out of the park for you.
Yeah.
And then I'm on the reverse end. I loved the GX1. I was super hyped about the GX2, and I put the GX2 on, and I told you instantly as soon as I put those on my feet, I was like, these are not going to work.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Like that's totally fine. I found other things that I like better, but I think that that's a big thing. Is it's like, go try things on. You never know what you like until you try them out.
Right.
That's the message to hit home.
Yeah.
All right, here's a question for you. Jason, our friend Jason, sent us a lot, but here's a good one. He said, are companies lying to us about what pros want? When you check out customizations on their boots, like with BC boots, he shows all the different customizations that pros get. So do you think that the brands are lying to us about what's good, what's bad, what we want versus what pros actually want?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the sole plates that they're changing to, just in general, like when we saw that, what was it, like the John Stones sole plate, it's like, yeah, that's exactly what I want if I was a pro. And then they make like rock hard, like carbon fiber, just to like give them like the maximum amount of spring back they need to play. And it's like, yeah, like those customizations are not only like functional, they prevent like any kind of injury. Like it's obvious, you know what I mean? Like when James had that, what was it, like the X version of that messy boot, and he was like, this is like the stiffest freaking sole plate I held in my hand.
Yeah, and I remember too, Unisport. I think it was Unisport, and I think it was Jolter. interviewed Gareth Bale, and they were talking about Gareth Bale had, I think it was the X 18 and 19s, and his boots were like Jolter said, like a literal rock. That's how stiff Gareth Bale liked his boots. So but on the reverse end, you know, for people like me and you, that's like one of the most softest, movable. He had the .1s. He didn't wear the pluses. It was like a very like soft upper. So it's crazy that the brand is trying to tell me and you, like, hey, you need, you know, this. You want a soft upper, responsive, blah blah blah. But then you get to a pro, and he's like, I want this thing as firm and ungodly wearable as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's so smart on the brand's point of view, because like if you can get all of these people to wear a GX2 with a super stiff sole plate, and then you're selling us kind of like these more like super flexible, like what is it called? The can't think of it right now, but the bottoms, the GX2 bottoms, it's like, yeah, like you're probably going to be saving a lot of money.
The Cyclone 360?
Cyclone 360, thank you. I'm like,
well,
this.
The thing that's crazy to me, especially that I've noticed on pro boots, is a lot of Nike pros like I think it's the Tiempo Legend 3 and Legend 4 sole plate. And I'm like, you weren't even old enough to wear that.
Right.
Like when that was a boot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why are all these pros so stuck on that? Because there's a lot of pros that love that boot.
It's a stable ride, dude.
Yeah, it's great.
I remember my brother and I met up at my mom's house a few years ago, and I had I had just gotten the Tiempo Legend 9s. He had nothing to play with, so he grabbed my 4s, and I was like, dude, let me try those out for a sec. And I was like, holy shit, like this is so. Like it was so nice and stable. I was like, I don't feel like I'm even in like the Tiempo 9 sole plate. Like I felt like, you know, you're in the ground more, right? And like with these sole plates, you feel it's got like a more like flat kind of like oval, some conical vibes. Like you can move more, dude. Like it's just different.
Yeah, it's very. I would say more robust, maybe is the way to put it. But it's very interesting to me that so many pros love that sole plate.
Yeah. It's good. It's good sole plate, dude.
I mean, it's good, but it's like, again, why can't we just have that? You know what I mean? Like we don't have to innovate.
Yeah, I don't know, and I know that there's some people who are really, really into their aggression in boots, and so you know, it's probably not for everyone. It is pretty cool how pros want to go like on the more neutral side. But yeah, man, that's I think that if they actually listen to what consumers wanted, we'd be having much more firm sole plates with much more like neutral studs.
Yeah, that's probably true. Because you think about like what was it, the Speed Portal, and supposedly Adidas took out the carbon fiber shank that I don't even think was ever really there. But they said it was because pros said that it was too stiff. So clearly pros are feeling something that most people, I would say on average, are not. Yeah. So, yeah. Interesting. All right, the last question I'm going to ask you is because this was a topic / moment that was brought up in the football boot hour. And James and Lockhart said that if the Predator Mania was released today, that people would not be happy with it. It would not be acceptable. What do you think? Do you think it would survive in this current day and age without any changes?
Oh man, see, I never had an OG Mania. I wasn't a Pred head, so it's hard for me to answer this question. I'm gonna ask you some questions now. Did this boot overstretch a bit? Because that's kind of like a newer, like the way that they make these leather boots now is where they keep the stretching very minimum.
Yeah, they would stretch, but I would also say that the boot would probably blow out before you ever got it to where it was like the Tony Cruz ones, you know, are going to kind of overstretch and they'll be unwearable.
Right, yeah.
I think that the Mania wouldn't overstretch to the point where it was unwearable. I think it would blow out and fall apart.
So I would say that I kind of might take their side on this only because I think there's so much technology now within there was like a few generations ago that kept leather boots more responsive, like especially in the midfoot. Like you really want a good midfoot in a leather boot. Like the toe box is fine to kind of keep more free, and that's kind of something that Mizuno have perfected, but like I think you would need to adjust that area, as well as let's say I don't. Okay, and this is just from seeing like kind of more classic Predators, like how wide that ankle spreads, that kind of flare out like that. They'd have to fix that. Like that's something that everybody's used to having, like knit on their ankle. They're used to having like a really like closed in feel. So if that's something that's gonna bug people, like you're gonna have to fix that.
Well, I think that the flare is also from like people doing it the Beckham way, like I do.
Okay.
Like if you kind of use the last lace hole, it's kind of on that flare, so you could pull it back in and you know tie it. I think that the Predator Mania would definitely stand. Like I think it could stand in the ring with any boot, but I will say that it may, if it was on the current Pred sole plate, I think that would help it survive a little more.
Yeah, well,
You know?
I'm sure it's a lot lighter. I'm sure the current.
Well,
ones-
yeah, and the split sole is like magnificent. Like everybody loves the way it looks, but like they were prone to like breaking through there, and also like the blades that they used back then, especially the SG blades, like you will kill somebody with those. Like no wonder freaking people are fighting on the field. So I think that would have to change. But I think like if you just took the Mania, like if I blindfolded you, and you could, let's say you could play blindfolded. And I gave you the Pred 24 with a tongue. I gave you the Rotero with a tongue, and then I gave you the Mania with a tongue. I think you would be like, all three of these are great. Could easily wear them.
Yeah, you might have something there.
That is arguably one of the greatest boots of all time. So I don't see how anybody could be like, nah.
Yeah. I mean, it all kind of comes back around, right? Because I mean, that's essentially like. I guess there's a reason. I will say this: there's a reason that these boots keep getting remade. Like there's a reason. There's a passion. There's just something that people, and you and I kind of talk about this on every podcast. It's like people want to have these classic feels, these classic aesthetics, and put on modern tooling. And like that to me is like that's one of the best things you can do to kind of keep lines going.
For sure, and that's why I think that I've told you this before, said 100 times even on this podcast. The current Pred. It's just a reimagined Mania. The elements are very similar. Like a lot of it is very, very Mania inspired.
Yeah. Do you think that because we kind of talked about this with Ricky's question on like what silo would you kill? I think it would be a good idea to potentially, and they're not going to do this because we've already seen like the leaks of the Copa line. But if they killed the Copa line, but just made two separate Preds, one synthetic, one leather, I think that would be the route to go.
I think so too. I think you would basically if they had a permanent Rotero and then a current Pred Elite with a tongue. And I think that you're gonna hate this, but I think that if you just did, I think if you killed the regular tongue,
right,
the used throat tongue, and just did like the fold over tongue in a synthetic and the fold over tongue in leather, you could get rid of the laceless too. I think that those and every single colorway and every single size would always sell out. Always.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, like I don't mind doing the FT version, but if you're gonna put like a non, like that's probably the one I'll go for. If you tell me something has better lockdown, I'm always gonna go for it. But like, hey, if that's my one option, yeah, I'll get a Rotero version of the Pred.
Yeah, you would be in love, dude. You'd be so in love. All right, last question, and then I think we're gonna have to end up calling it. Our friend Andrew over at Footloose Boots wants to know, which one would you rather have, the new Mercurial or the GX1 back?
Oof. He has been on this GX1 kick lately. I've seen his Instagram. That's hard to say because I haven't gotten a chance to try it. Like the only one I've tried is the GX1, so I have to go GX1, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm very curious about the new Merc. But I'm going to go with GX1 because I do love a GX1. That's a good boot. I was horribly wrong about that one at first.
DF version?
No, I'd probably still go with the low.
Yeah, I got the low.
The DF is just such a pain in the ass to get on and off. That ghost laces thing.
Yeah.
But, Colby, speaking of ghosts, where can the people find you? Because you've ghosted the internet.
That's a deep cut, Justin. You guys can find me or not at Kicking with Colbs on YouTube and on Instagram.
And you can find me at Texas Cleat Collector on YouTube or Instagram. And you can find us at Bootcast Pod over on Instagram, where you can leave us more questions if you want to get a nice shout out. And with that, Colby, do you have anything to add?
No, man, I think I'm good.
Then, my friends, we will say goodnight, and we will have updates about our new F50s next week. Take care.